What's up? What's up?
How's it going, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Pretty good. Waiting for the
Awesome.
coffee to kick in today.
Right on.
Yeah. Oh man, how's it been? How's your week been?
Good, brother. It's been
Nice.
kind of boring. I mean, like I told you, like last time, right? I was supposed to be quarantined because of playing soccer on Sunday.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I was asked to quarantine this last week and this week. Hey, brother, is there a way
Gotcha.
to turn your mic up a little?
Yeah. Can you hear me better now? It's probably
Yeah,
because it's far away from me.
yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, man, it's been pretty boring. Like, I mean, still like doing meetings from Zoom and like trying to like catch up with stuff or like make sure that because I'm going in tomorrow, so I'm just like making sure I have like a plan of attack and make up for a lot of lost time. But
gotcha. Yeah, totally. I
that's
bet,
gonna be
man.
tough.
Gotcha. Yeah. Is that why I was assuming? I was like, were we supposed to meet today? Because I didn't get footage, but I
Yeah,
texted
well, yeah, because like I
because he was
couldn't
there.
get,
Yeah. No,
I
all
wouldn't
good.
wasn't able to go there to go get the disc, and it's like, all right,
Yeah.
nobody was available to like come and drop it
Drop it
off.
off.
I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, fine, forget it.
Everybody's afraid of you, man.
Yeah.
It was, who was I talking to? Oh, it was one of your fellow students. The sorry, hold on.
Good.
I couldn't find my usual mugs. I'm using my wife's girl boss fuel.
That's legit.
And I was talking to him. He's like, "Yeah, bro, I was on stage because he's also one of the worship leaders."
Uh-huh.
He's it's like I was on stage. It's the student from Brazil, and I was up there, and I needed to sneeze so badly, but I couldn't. I just couldn't because I didn't want anybody to freak out.
Yeah, dude. I
I
mean,
go, dude, it's real.
it is. Yo, yeah, it's it. I don't know. It's funny because like we've been talking with different people about like our pastors, like I don't know, like the way he's been from the start of everything to like now. Like there must have been like some type of shift or something got to him where he took
Right.
things like to a different level as far as like how serious he was with things. Like because at first, he was like, I'm not going to be the mask police. He would wear the mask like coming into the door, but as soon as he hit the front doors of the actual sanctuary, he'd like take that thing off. Like he would mingle with people and stuff like that. But then like the past couple weeks or a few weeks ago, everything kind of shifted a little bit where he was more like he was a little more standoffish. He like stood over here instead of being mingling with people, and now he wore the mask all the way through the sanctuary and only took it off right when he's about to hit stage, and right when he got off stage, he put it back
Oh
on.
wow.
So his like serious level went up more, and I
Uh,
wonder if somebody complained or said something, or maybe something happened close to home that
yeah.
made it so that he actually like um, put more like emphasis on it and stuff like that. And so with us with the whole soccer team, it's funny because like everybody involved was like hasn't gone out of that circle of people. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
like I haven't our guys like me, David, Ivan, right? Like we hadn't gone into his circle of friends, right? But he hasn't left that circle of friends. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Totally.
we've already been in contact with them through him anyway. You know what I mean? So
Totally.
it's like okay, but I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
if it comes back around that somebody was like, "Oh, I saw your team with people out there. You guys aren't really like taking this seriously as a church." And we're all pretty much all of us there like work or go to that church or involved somehow. So
Right.
it would have looked bad if the next if somebody would have saw us and then the next Sunday or next whatever day saw us at
It
church
didn't.
and been like,
Yeah.
yeah. So I get it. It's tough, but I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
the team did a great job. I mean, we lost. So two of the guys that had to stay home are two of the guys that normally um, run cameras for me, and so
Okay. Gotcha.
Saturday was like I think we had camera 3, which is our main camera, and camera 5.
Nice.
Those are the only two camera operators we had. Everybody else, so we had camera 6 and 7, and the jib were all still shots. And I watched it back, and I'm like, ugh, this is terrible. I mean, it doesn't look bad per se, but it's
Right,
just,
right, right.
man, the energy level, the quality of like what it could look like is so like gone down,
Down,
like
yeah.
it goes down so much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh,
and
I get it.
Sunday was better, but still, I mean, we're in this place right now where we're struggling. Like they want to go live every single service, but we're struggling like to get to retain or have people come back and serve
Right.
consecutively. And like our Sunday 11:15 service this weekend is going to be like, if I don't like hustle and try to get more people or try to find like one or two more people, I'm only going to have one camera person for the last
Right.
service of the
Last
weekend.
service.
And I'm like, ugh, I really wish we just rebroadcast Saturday or Sunday because like we have plenty of
Yeah, how
people.
come why don't they don't want to do that?
I'm not sure. I think it's just that I think the pastor wants that authenticity of being live,
Mm.
you know. But I mean, the content doesn't
Feel like
change.
he'll yeah, does he feel like he'll lose audience? Is that what you think or
I don't think so. I don't know.
interesting.
I'd like to ask him like his reasoning, not to be combative, but just to,
Right.
because I'll come at it as a standpoint of like, hey, I can promise you quality in these services because we're doing it so well here, and we're kind of
Yeah.
missing out. And that was the plan at first, but I mean, I don't know what changed. I need to ask him like what the true reason is, because from a production standpoint, we're not doing anything different than we would do in any other service.
Yeah, totally.
And for us to kind of like put out lesser quality than we had in the other two services, to me doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
you know. And yeah, because we're it's more people watching online than there is in the actual building, so we should still keep the online quality
Yeah, yeah.
priority, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah.
So this is
We
tough.
yeah, that's part of the reason why we'd actually do just well, even for now, one service and then we rebroadcast the others, is because we don't want our team to be burnt out. Like we do have like I have, I could if I wanted to or needed to, like put together another team really quickly. But number one, it would be mostly volunteers. The staff guys wouldn't be able to really stick around just because of even like work and
Yeah.
hours and things. So
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you guys? I know you guys, staff wise, in your video team. How many camera ops are staff?
I have five. Let's see, actually four. One, two. No, I'm sorry, five. Five that are actually on staff as like part time, full time.
Hmm.
Then I have another five that are 5 to 6 that are actually on call paid. So
Okay.
technically 10. Yeah,
Okay.
but usually my usual might like my A team, I guess you could say, is around 5.
That's cool. And how did you? I'm guessing you guys, as a church, leadership justifies the pay or the salaries of them for them based on the volume of people that watch, the subscription, all that kind of stuff, right?
A little bit, yeah, yeah. It's it's one of the things too that like I like about like Bill and Eric Johnson is that they value excellence in everything. So they want that excellence. So they know that that's why they love Apple products because the excellence within you have to pay a little bit more of a premium, but there's excellence within the product itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it's that same thing. Like yeah, we're gonna have to pay staff members, but also this is the end result. We get this that looks like this because everybody's invested in it a little more because they're getting paid. You
Yep.
know,
So it looks like I'm getting an intern, a paid intern for 6 months here, coming here up in the next couple or few weeks. We still have to
Nice.
sit down and do like an interview with them, but so that's, I mean, for me, that's great. And I'm still thinking about what, in what areas, this person, it's a she, it's a girl, college, right out of college or in college. Anyway, I'm just thinking about where might be the best place to like plug her in or structure her internship in production. And one of the areas I feel like that could probably be beneficial in this time is after going through the program with you, I feel like I could probably just funnel all of that knowledge and all that, everything that I've learned and everything into her, because one of the things in her applications was that she's done video editing. So it looks more like on the video side, photography side is her kind of her niche thing. And
Nice.
I don't know whether to go into that fully like that and kind of keep her there, or
Right. Right.
her take on like a different aspect, or kind of teach her how to take on a different aspect of production and kind of, grow her in a realm that maybe she's not strong in. And for me to keep focusing on the video side of things. So that's where I'm sitting, where of like, man, like I really, like one of the things I really need to, up our game in is in lighting and positioning of lights and all that kind of stuff and whatever. And I feel like if I can free myself up from the video aspect of stuff,
To
then
do that.
yeah, or I could, bring somebody in, who knows a little more lighting, like a contractor, and kind of, have him teach both of us the lighting aspect and have her keep growing in that lighting aspect,
Yeah. Yeah.
or even broadcast audio. I don't know. There's so many aspects of production. And I think that's where right now I'm kind of like, man, like, what do I do with this person, rather, because I don't want to just have that person be like,
Yeah. Go do this. Then
go
go
do
do
that. Go do,
that. Yeah.
go do, I just
Yeah.
want them to actually, like, I want to actually grow them and focus them into an aspect that they, one, feel like they want to do,
Yeah.
um, or if they want to do anything, if they're up for anything, then, focus them into something that will benefit me and the church in a way. And I think that's a really good sign that maybe in the future we hire, a part-time production person, like, to kind of help, because right now it's just me, full-time production, everyone else is volunteer. And that gets really hard because, once we've pushed the envelope of our quality, and to
Right.
maintain the consistency, like you said, you have to
Oh,
pay
it's hard. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
going. And I think,
My the last church that I worked at, I was the only paid staff, and I had volunteers. And man, I know what you're going through.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. And
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful for the volunteers because they've been doing a great job,
Totally.
and some of our staff is chipping in, our communications team or whatever. They do photography and stuff like that. They're stepping up and they're doing a great job too. But it's not their job to always man a camera.
Right.
It'd be
Totally. Yeah.
nice. It'd be nice to have somebody that was. It's your job to man a camera if we don't have a camera person, and it's your job to like help lead, a production, one of the teams in production. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and I'm like praying hard about like where is this person going to plug into? How,
Right.
are they really going to get it out? Because most of the time, I mean, I would say like 7 times out of 10, this person comes on staff somehow. The
Yeah.
intern
Yeah.
through our internship program.
They'll
Um,
come on staff.
yeah, and that's because
What's
that's
have you chatted with her yet? As far as like
not
what
yet. So
she got you.
I'm hoping to get an interview with me and Kayla, who like helps manage our volunteers and kind of is like our liaison to like our other ministries and stuff like that, to kind of sit down with her hopefully sometime next week.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally find out like what my crew, what draws you to it, what draws
Yep.
what is
Uh,
drawing you to it, what do you feel like you want to, what do you want out of this, basically? You know.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. You know, it's funny, on her application, she had somebody, one of her uh, contacts or whatever, like what's it called? Resource. Oh man,
Yeah, I
what's
know what you're talking about. Yeah, like reference.
reference? Yeah, one of her references
Reference.
was one of the guy. It was a guy that applied for my position before I got it. Before I got, it's
That's
fun.
funny.
Yeah, from a church down the street, actually. Anyways,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
Okay. Um let me have you gotten a chance to go over the any of the book at all?
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. What
Chapter
chapters did we leave off of?
uh 8 and 9.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's honestly it's the same thing with um the other chapters. It's really just honestly for you. And I do talk about it with my leadership team a little bit, but this one's kind of like well the chapter 8 I think is kind of about with the team as far as like what is it, walking, would you rather be right
Yeah,
or have relationship, you know, and
yeah,
learning how to navigate that as a leader. For me, it looks like there are times when I want to correct us, you know, someone, but I also have to let them. It's almost like, you know, you live and learn, you know. So I kind of got to let them fail a little bit in
yep,
order for, you know. And yeah, I'll put warning signs like, "Hey, I don't know if you know," but if they're really like, "No, I want to do this. I want to do it like this," you know,
yeah,
let them do it, and then come back because I'm not going to sit there and fight with them. Yes, I could pull the boss card, but I want to treat them more as a family, you know,
yeah, for
like I
sure.
would with my son. Is you know, yes, I see warning signs if he's gonna do this, and I can, hey, don't do that, you know, uh,
Yeah,
and I can go there and stop him, or I can, okay, if he does that, he's gonna realize, oh yeah, that didn't work, you
for
know.
sure.
So it's
My parents did that with me. Like, don't touch the outlet. You know, you don't put your
right,
finger in the outlet, and it's like, all right, well, he's gonna do it, and then you get electrocuted, and you go, see, told you.
yeah, exactly, it's totally, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's as far as leadership wise goes, you know. Then there's the things that they get into in 8 where you're talking about gosh, coffee hasn't kicked in yet,
Yeah,
but you're talking mostly the thought behind it is really just how you how you are towards another person, you know, and that how it comes back to you, that kind of that thing.
yeah,
And one of the things that I love about our house here and how Bill Johnson thinks is he was we were doing communion once and he talked about uh us, you know, we get a lot of hate here. There's like three main guys that like their home ministries, like they make really good money off of a content that talks about how bad we are and cult and all that stuff, right?
jeez.
And and he Bill's first deal is he was talking about it and he's like, every time I take communion I pray for these three individuals.
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah, yeah, you're praying that they get, you know, you know, boils, you know, get boils on your lower regions, you know, like, you
Uh,
know,
he's on one
just like,
side, you're
or
way on the other.
yeah, I'm way on the other, totally. And he's like, you know, I pray that they're being blessed more than I have ever been blessed. I pray that their kids and grandkids and great grandkids and the entire generations are blessed. And I thank God that they have a platform to stand on, that they really feel like God's calling them to do this. And I'm like, yeah, you're way better man than I am. It's like I would not be able to do that. But
Yeah,
the point, bringing up the point where it's like he actually values, you know, if they were to walk in the door, he would go up and talk to him and not,
yeah,
you know, even though internally he'd probably like, are you stupid? I'm gonna punch you in the face, you know.
yeah, for sure.
But but externally and doing the right thing, it's like I actually value relationship over being right. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I
Yeah.
like that's it's funny. I think about that in like in different ways of like, how do I, when I talk to the pastor about, hey, why do you want to, why do you want to go live all three services when I can, we can capture one that's really great and rebroadcast that quality, and if
Right.
volunteer doesn't want to show up, then it's not going to hurt us. It sucks. We'll
Totally.
still have to put something out in the lobby, but how do I talk in that way and not be like, I'm right, you're wrong, because I'm the one who's doing all the tech. Like, listen to me.
Right.
There's that aspect of it, and there's also the aspect of like, I left before coming to this church. I left a church that was super, super unhealthy, and the pastor obviously, is struggling with some like identity, pastoral
Right.
identity issues of like where he should lead his church and how he should do things, and should he run it more like a business? Should he run it more like a church, and big church or small church? It's like all these
Right.
things, and there's definitely hurt there of like, you were wrong, I was right to leave. And if I were to ever bump into him in the mall or bump into him at the stores, whatever, like, can I act like that? Where, hey, can I act in the like you said, like Bill does, can I act like
Right.
that to the person that wronged me and so many others? you know how do we,
Totally. Yeah.
and that's tough, and because our tendency is, well, because we're prideful, so our tendency is to want to be right.
Right.
I mean, I say that
Yeah.
with my wife all the time, like, oh, sweetheart, you're right. And she's like, yep, I just love it when you tell me I'm right. It's like,
Yeah.
darn it,
Yeah. Totally.
I'm trying to be a good person here. But
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
just trying. That's great.
but it's true. I mean, we make fun of it, but deep down inside, as human beings, and especially as Christians, man, like we want to be right about everything, and it's hard not to go the other way, because
Yeah.
we've been given revelation of truth, and when you're given that, it's hard to not
Right.
think that you're right all the time. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see that all over culture, all over, everything. We've been having discussions over race and all that stuff and everything,
I
and
know.
it's like,
Right.
it's
Yeah. And
who's
everybody's
right.
like, no, I'm right. No, I'm right. No,
Yeah,
I'm right.
yeah,
It's
and
like,
where does
no, no
and where
matter
does
who, yeah.
exactly, and it's like, where does the Christian voice, as Christians, what does our voice say, what does it need to be saying, and stuff like that, and it's like, oof,
Yeah.
the truth
Yeah.
is love, and truth is, we need to, bottom line, reflect Jesus, and Jesus wasn't racist. That's it.
Right.
You know,
Totally. Yeah.
that's the truth. But how do we actually walk that out? Because now people have
Yeah.
opinions about how those things should be walked out.
Yeah.
It's tough,
Yeah.
man. It's tough to not. It's tough to walk that line of like, hey, this is truth here, but I'm not trying to talk to you as I'm trying to be right. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
that's and
It's
in
hard,
production.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is hard. It's hard in ministry. It's hard in leadership. When you're walking through, you know, um, someone who's your direct report, and you're leading other people. It's hard to there's been times where, hey, we're not doing this and this and that in production, and I have to tell the team, hey, we're not able to do this and that, and they're like, whose idea was that? And
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know because we're the tech guys, we're right, we have the good ideas, we know
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
to implement all these things.
Right.
um so we're right and they're wrong, but then it's at the same time, it's like, they're saying to us, no, that's not right, we want to do it like this, that's wrong, don't do it like that, do it like this. And it's like, but like,
Yeah.
there's that clash of like, well, you don't know what it takes to do this, and we do, and oh, but your vision
Yeah.
is this, but to do that
Right.
better is like anyway. So
Yeah.
it's
No, I get it. My, it's just, I do for that, like, honestly, like, cause I actually, it's funny cause I went through something like that a couple of months ago where, um, because they wanted a better handle on hours, my boss and his assistant decided that they wanted to, start scheduling the guys instead of my assistant to schedule everybody. And so when they did that, it was like, well, was I doing a bad job? My assistant was like, was I doing a bad job? And then they were also talking
like,
about, I know. I was like, well, it got dark.
You know, I have it on a motion sensor. That's why. So if
Ah, yeah,
so,
yeah,
so if there's no motion sensor for like the thermostat thing, then
yeah,
it
yeah. It'll be like nobody's here. Nice, nice. Um, but we were talking, and she was like, "Why don't you tell them that what they're how they're scheduling because they totally didn't know how to schedule because we schedule ours in a different way. We especially all of our shoots. I want to make sure that all of my guys knows what's up on that shoot, like call time, a full call rundown sheet, right? So call, what time's lunch, what's in the shoot, like hey, from 1 to 2, we're gonna be shooting Chris, 3 to 4, as a break, and then 5 to 6, we're gonna be shooting Bill, and
Mm,
then just small things, and they didn't know, so they was just scheduling without any info and just putting like 4 cameras, and then the next one is like 2 cameras, that's all you need,
yeah.
uh so I would tell them like, hey, I need this is the information I need. And they're like, okay, yeah, yeah. But it wouldn't be getting done.
Oh,
And my
jeez.
assistant's like, at what point are you going to sit down with them, tell them it's not working out? I go, I've told them before, but this is something where I need to let them fail at it for them to realize like, oh, yeah, this is, she's like, well, it doesn't make any sense to be. We kind of got into a small little argument. And I told her, I said, listen, I said, one thing remember about the book, and I took her through the chapters and things, and she's like, yeah, I know, I'm still feeling. I go, I know, it's tough. I go, you'll probably understand more when you become a parent. but
Mm.
I said, but it's tough. Sometimes you just got to let them fail to actually, and it's not. I shouldn't say it's not in a way of like to make your point, but it's more to like, hey, you know, now you can kind of see,
To bring
you
a
know,
level of understanding,
yeah, yeah.
a mutual
So
understanding.
yeah, so it was like 2 weeks ago is where they're finally. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go in there, guys, and start changing stuff because this hasn't been happening, and they're like, yeah, sorry, we thought we could keep a handle on it all, but as long as why don't you guys we'll put the times in, and then you guys can fill out all the rest. So I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
there we go. Yeah.
Well, that's a good compromise right there.
Yeah, so they at least know what hours are going in and out, and I got it. I get it too because I don't. Luckily, I'm in one of those sweet positions where I have authority. I don't need to do any budgeting. It's like it's all handled by the boss, and I just,
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, that's hard
yeah,
too. Like the budgeting part of everything too is like, oh man, like I know I can say yes to buying these things, but then at the same time I'm like, but I know I'm gonna
right.
need that, or they're gonna probably ask for this. I'm gonna need to spend money there. Like, oh, geez, okay. And that's where it gets hard
Totally.
because you got to tell people, no, we can't do that. I'm like, why, Josue? It's like, well, because we don't have the money for it, but we do have the money for this, or
Yeah,
not like we do have the money for that, but if I spend it on that, then we will not get this
we
other
don't
thing.
we don't have any money. Yeah, totally. Yeah,
So yeah, man. I mean, it's funny. Um, yeah, that's a really good way of like, yeah, of like handling, the conversations of like, I know this to work because of this and that. I'm
yeah,
going to one handle it this way so that you see where we're coming from because I think it's easy for us, and this is us, us tech guys, I think, and especially someone who's been in ministry for a while. It's easier for us who aren't the pastors and the leaders to kind of know where they're coming from because you've
yeah.
seen it, see what they have to deal with because they have to deal with things on a different level as far as people and the ministry is concerned. But they don't have to deal with any of our stuff, and that's why we're hired. That's why we're there, so that they don't have to worry about how do the exposure on a camera to make it look right. Like they don't know, they don't need
Right,
to know any of that stuff, right? So it becomes really hard for them to understand um, why we'll kick back on something, and they might because they've had to deal with it with so many other people in the past or ministry of people just being rebellious to them for out of
right.
spite or for no reason. When we say, listen, can we do it this way? Because we think this will work better. Or they feel that kickback as, oh, you're being rebellious towards me, or you're trying to attack me, because that's what they get from people all the time. I mean, look at Bill, like he's getting attacked from other,
Yeah.
from dudes. And, when when we, because we want the best, say, no, that's not going to work right. They're not in our shoes. So it's like that.
Yeah.
It's great to have that moment of where, like, all right, we'll do it like this. Can you circle back with me in a couple weeks? So
Yeah.
that, so that we can assess how this worked out.
How it work out. Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then yeah, chapter 9, my disclosure for that is usually it's like it's easy to get lost in you feeling like, because it's talking about that hidden sin and shame,
Yeah.
and it's easy to get lost in like, oh man, like, um do I have any hidden sin? And then be like, what?
Yeah.
Oh man, did I? No. Oh, and but he doesn't do a good job in explaining that in the book. It's like that's not really his point. And it's more along the lines of, hey, this is good to every once in a while check your heart, just make sure you're good,
Yeah.
Um, and then also like the whole not living in shame part. You don't have to live in shame for your past, and the the other aspect to that is, I heard somebody say, it teaches you, chapter 9 teaches you how to be humble. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he talked about, teaches you how to be humble with yourself and not prideful with yourself. And he talked about, because a lot of times you can be, oh no, I'm good. I'm good. Like I took an inventory, but that was just on the surface, So like, yeah, I'm good. But if you're not humble with yourself to go even deeper, then you don't have, you're not ready to do with chapter 10, which is actually, chapter 10 is talking about learning how to walk in God's love and walk in love with everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so he goes, if you're not humble with yourself first and you don't take an inventory of what's in your heart and, the sin that's in your heart, if there is any, then you're not going to be ready for chapter 10. I was like, oh, that's actually really good. That's really good. I'm
Yeah.
stealing that.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good revelation there. Yeah. I think, it's funny. I think it's different for people, luck, thankfully, I was raised in a, Christian background, Christian home, God fearing. How, my dad is a worshiper at heart, he's a pastor, but man, like he knew he knew how to worship, where there's
Right.
always that worship atmosphere at the house, so I think, and because of that, these conversations of hidden sin and, or, shameful past and stuff like that, like I'm grateful
Right.
that, you know, I'm not going to say I have no sin, right? But because we all sin, we all say things we shouldn't, we all feel things we shouldn't. We might look at someone or judge someone, the wrong way, or even look at things or watch things that we shouldn't be. Like we partake in, hey, have you seen this, man? Like, yeah, well, yeah, no, what are you talking about? Like, look, click on this YouTube link, watch this, and it's like, oh, like I shouldn't have watched that. I like, can I let that in? Like, oh,
Yeah.
geez.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
those types of things. And but there's this like there's this knowledge, there's this like presence of like, okay, well, this, I know, like this isn't going to affect me. I'm not going to let this affect me, because we talk about, there's in the Bible, it talks about like not letting, the enemies steal your joy.
Right.
All these things come to, he comes to, confuse you, and all these things. He's like the chapter, was it 8, talked about, the devil versus, God, right? Like, he uses the law and punishment and all this stuff, and then God is grace and forgiveness and all that stuff. So because you know being a Christian for quite a while now, and just walking through these things, or hearing or being taught these things as a kid, and just walking with the Father this way, is like when those sins or shames come about, we know, hey, you need, one, repent, ask for forgiveness, and then
Right.
not let the enemy continue to
To
bring you
yeah.
down for those things. you know, and
Totally.
that's where I think where, you know, in everything, right? Like in our ministry and even in production, where we can kind of like be that example of like, hey, listen, like, you know, you messed up, but
Yeah.
I'm only going to bring it up one time. I forgive you for it. I know you've already learned your lesson. You know, don't even dwell on
Right.
it. Let's move on. And I think that's the part where, you know, I'll be guilty of it too. Like, I'll dwell on like some of the, you know, the bad stuff sometimes that happens. You know, either it was like a mistake made that would clearly detail. You know, I missed that detail and I shouldn't have. Like, hey, don't dwell on it.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, it's the enemy trying to take away from somebody that was impacted in this service. Nobody cared. Nobody noticed that there was a
Yeah.
mistake. You know what I mean? Um, so that, but that's on the surface level, you know, and we can take that even deeper into the spiritual realm and stuff like that. And
Right.
so, and I think that's where it comes. That's where it is, where we need to kind of exemplify that in our ministries, in our leadership with our team. Um, there was a last weekend, someone texted me and was like, "Hey man, I'm really sorry. Like I watched over the service a little bit, and I'm like, man, I'm really sorry. I was like crooked almost half the time you took, the shots were taken." And I was like, "I'm glad you watched. I mean, that's the whole purpose of me
Yeah.
putting them on YouTube so that you can
Yeah.
see them. I'm glad you watched. I'm
Totally.
glad you saw that. You know, I kind of said to him 2 or 3 times, "Hey, watch your Dutch." And he would sometimes, but he'd keep going back. I don't know if it's because of the screen or whatever, but he's like, man,
Right.
I can't believe I messed up so many times. And I only thought it was those 2 times, but it was like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, bro, no, you got it. You know, you saw it. You're going to fix it. Don't even worry about it. You're straight. You know, you know,
Nice.
people enjoy the service. And he's like, okay, cool. Thanks, man. You know, I could have easily been like, yeah, man, I told you
Yeah.
and just left it
Yeah.
at that. But,
I
you
told
know,
you.
yeah, I told
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
to. Like, what, you didn't, you know?
Listen to your boss next time.
Exactly. Yeah. But so that's where, you know, I'm grateful that those things are, you know, around, and I'm, you know, him bringing that up just makes it even more true. Like you gotta continue to, it's a work, you gotta continue to work on it,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's why, honestly, that's why I go. It helped me this year because I'm taking you guys through it. But usually, I go through this book at least once a year just to keep fresh. Just because I got so much people that I'm leading that I just want to make sure I don't want to because there were times when like uh there was a couple of volunteers when I first my first year of actually running everything, and I felt like that by the end of the year, and they were gone, because they were students, and I really felt like, man, I did not do a really good job of leading them. Like I basically was using them every once in a while, trying to build a relationship, but you know, and I was like, what do I need to do? And the book came into my head. I'm like, okay, I got to go through this book again. So I went through the book again. And the next year, volunteers, I made sure they were all taken care of, all this stuff, So definitely, it's one of those things. It's a constant journey of, I guess, reassessing would be the main thing. Like,
Yeah,
not going through it. I think the moment I mean, well, that's where pride steps in, right? Because the moment you think about like, oh, I got this, it's good, we're doing good, I'm doing a great job, I'm doing all this stuff, and you don't think about, am I doing a good job, what can I grow in, what can I, you know what I mean?
yeah, for sure, man.
That's where you'll end up getting in trouble.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
good
Cool.
stuff, bro.
um we'll pick up next week.
Yep.
um yeah, because you get to go back this week, right?
Yeah, I'm going in tomorrow, and I'll be there this weekend. So I have, I'm swapping with my volunteer director. He's going to direct Saturday, and I'll direct both
Gotcha.
services on Sunday. So
Okay.
that should be fun. I might run a camera Saturday, so we'll
Nice.
see how that
That'd be
goes.
fun.
I'm actually thinking about doing
Cool.
camera 3. It was our main shot, and kind of actually like doing more of that cinema verite type stuff to kind of, because
Yeah, to get a yeah.
everybody gets it, but nobody quite does it the way me and you've been talking about.
Right,
So
yeah.
I kind of want to do it and really get that, you know, to work, to happen, so I can actually show them like, see, this is what I'm talking about when I
Yeah,
say
yeah,
you can
yeah.
move, stuff like that.
Can you
So,
ISO record that? I would
uh,
ISO record it if you
yeah,
can, and then I would, so that way you have like a full reference of that camera all the time and showing them like, hey, this is, you know, play back the footage of that and say, this is what it was I was doing, you know.
yeah, sure, for sure. Yeah, I think I can with that camera, that studio, that 4K studio, whatever camera. I think it can, I think it has the ability to do that. I think it has a SD card
Yes.
slot in it. I think I'll
Oh,
double check.
nice. Yeah.
But how do you guys, one of the questions I had for you from watching your multi-view stuff from YouTube, um, you have, from what I see from YouTube, right? All your cameras are in the individual boxes, and then
Uh huh.
your preview and your program screen are also in the same size. They're not blown up. How do you
Yeah,
do that?
it's the Blackmagic Multiview 16.
Blackmagic Multiview 16.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, it's another rack unit that all it is a multi-view, and you can have up to 16 boxes in one, on one TV or one monitor.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
it
you,
goes from like four. I think it's 4, 6, uh, 12, and 16. I think. Yeah,
um, yeah.
or 8 and 16. So 4,
So
6, 8, and 16.
you don't do that from the ATEM switcher. Does
No,
that, does that
so yeah, it goes from so we go to a fiber converter, and then from there, SDI out to the multiviewer, the multiview 16, and those have outputs too. That output goes to our smart hub, our smart hub, and then goes to our ATEM. So for us, the ATEM's last in the chain.
Oh, geez. So all your cameras run out SDI into fiber, and then
Yeah,
you run them into the video
yeah.
hub.
And then I run it into it's fiber. Fiber gets converted in the fiber converter to SDI, SDI to the multiview,
The multi-view.
multiview to the video hub. Yeah,
Okay, multi-view to the video.
multiview is second in the chain. Yeah.
So then how do you do your switching from camera to camera?
Oh no, that's still that I still do. I personally have on my two monitors in front of me have the regular multi-view. That
Okay.
multi-viewer 16 is for the rest of the house. So front of house monitors, the uh the studio. Yeah. So they all have the 16 multi-view 16, and I'm the only one that actually have the regular multi-view.
Nice. Okay, cool. That's legit. Yeah, because I like that view. I know you don't use it when you're switching, but for me, I was like, man, that would, because the two bigger screens sometimes distract me because I don't need to be
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
at.
because you're rarely looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
totally.
so like having the smaller boxes for me was like, man, that would, I would love that because I don't have to pay attention to the
Yeah.
small box.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's on a screen somewhere else, the main your program view or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
Not
the Constellation 8K ATEM, that you can actually customize your multi-view on it.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, that was, Ross and Grass Valley has been doing it for years, but Blackmagic finally did it, and I was like, oh yes, finally. So
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully, I think we might get one soon. I'm trying to, I don't know if we can fit it in the budget for this like year like the 2020 year, but I think January we can probably pull one in. So
You guys use
yeah.
the Pocket Cinema cameras?
Usually yes. We haven't since COVID because of that's our crowd camera, so we don't have crowds. Um,
So on stage
we
is
really
all
don't
the
want to. Yeah, it's all Ursa's on stage.
nice. Yeah, because I was thinking about the Pocket Cinema camera and like the Shinobi monitor because I know the Pocket Cinema cameras only have HDMI out. Do you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
convert the HDMI out, or do you guys put it into a monitor and then that
We
monitor
put it
has?
into wireless.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was
Yeah.
thinking, well, yeah, that would be a good way to do it. Because I was thinking if I can't get all wireless and I did get a Pocket Cinema camera, then I would go into like a Shinobi monitor and that Shinobi monitor has an SDI out. That way I could still do
Yeah.
SDI.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. You could do that too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. We use because it was our roaming cameras, we just basically did the wireless, and then the wireless units has the HDMI in, and then the transmitter is SDI. So
yeah, yeah. I did look into the Ghost Eye wireless units. I need to just pull the trigger on it and do it because it would help us out a lot, a lot, a lot.
yeah, I gotta say that it's a good. There, yes, with any wireless things, there's gonna be some challenges, and uh, it doesn't auto scan, which is for me that's my biggest thing. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
That
but
is
the as far as like it's a workhorse. I mean, we've been using it for almost 2 years straight, and we haven't had any issues at all.
how's
So
the battery life on the wireless on the Ghost Eye?
it's pretty good. It'll last about 2 to 3 hours. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah, because
yeah,
you guys have much longer runs than we do.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so if it lasts that long, then it would last for us perfectly.
yeah. I think 2 hours max. Actually, thinking about it
Yeah.
now. Yeah, and we use the Sony batteries for them. The Sony,
The
the
L
main Sony ones. That the L. Yeah,
LPN
that
six,
L.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, man. Awesome.
yeah.
Cool,
Cool,
man.
man. So have a good week.
You
Uh,
too.
I
Oh, are you
I
watching?
wouldn't. I won't say.
Huh?
What's that?
I was gonna say, are you
As
watching the Champions League? Are you into soccer?
No, I'm not in soccer.
Oh man,
No,
like
I kind of do watch. I was uh I was actually in France during the World Cup. Um,
that's awesome.
as France was going like into the last couple of tiers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, I gotta say that actually got me into like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. Like really watching because it's different than the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you have the football and all that stuff, but seeing the entire country like during game day, like everybody, the whole country is like, walk, popping their horns, waving the French flag and all that stuff. And yeah,
For sure. It
yeah,
must have
it
been a riot.
yeah, yeah, it was really cool. And my wife's town is further up north. It's about 2 hours north of Paris. And so it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of like Reading. It's a smaller town,
Yeah.
and the whole town like just lights up at night. Like I could open up my mother-in-law's apartment window and you just hear this collective roar. Like it
Oh,
was
that's
cool. Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah, it was
awesome.
cool.
Well, yeah, if you guys haven't followed the Champions League right now is the two well right now it's Paris Saint Germain, so the Paris team, Paris
Yeah,
League. So it's and then the other side today is Bayern Munich versus Lyon, which is another French team. So
French team. Yeah,
yeah, depending on who wins, it's going to be France versus Germany, basically, or France versus France.
nice.
So so if you're not following
Yeah, that'll be.
your wife's from France, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
she'll be
She follows every once in a while. Her and her brother. Yeah,
yeah, she'd be excited to see
yeah.
if both the French teams get to the
The
finals.
French teams get together.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
That would be cool. Yeah, yeah. It was fun. It was fun being there when all that was going down. I was almost able to go to a game, um, but because I can understand French, I can't really speak it fluently.
yeah.
And so it was going to be with her uncle that doesn't speak French, but my wife was we couldn't. My wife's like, I don't want to. My mother in law's kind of fragile. She's a little older, so she's like, I don't think we can leave Levi. I'm like, man, I go, okay, I understand. I was like, but that would have been so cool to be in one of those games.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would have. Yeah,
yeah,
those games are pretty crazy. They're pretty wild. I mean, especially when you get up to that top tier, everyone just goes crazy for it.
yeah,
Um,
totally.
I still haven't been in a country where like a World Cup or a Champions League has been held, whatever. But like, man, when it comes here, or if I'm able to go somewhere, dude,
Yeah,
I would,
you're
yeah.
gonna go. That's awesome. Oh man, cool. All right, my friend. Yeah, I was gonna tell you to get some rest, but I think you had 14 days of rest, so you're fine now.
I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Get in there and work.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, that's too funny. All right, my friend. I'll see you later. Have a good weekend.
You too, Chad. Bye.
Bye. Fine.